Hi, I'm Eden from Eden Eats on the Cooking Channel, and you're watching Mr. Media.
Today on Mr. Media, I'll talk to Dr. Lillian Glass, author of The Body Language Advantage. This is her second time around on our little show. Stick around, but please stop looking at me like that. Today's episode of Mr. Media Interviews is brought to you by GoDaddy.com. You know GoDaddy.com from their wild and sexy commercials, but isn't it time you actually test drove their web hosting and domain registration services yourself? For a limited time, Mr. Media listeners can save 10% on the already low price of web hosting services at GoDaddy.com by entering the promo code POD4 at checkout. Again, that's 10% off web hosting when you go to GoDaddy.com and enter the promo code POD4, that's P-O-D, the number 4, at checkout. Mr. Media is recorded live before a studio audience of women who find me intensely desirable and are sending hidden signals about their intentions that I can't seem to decipher in the new media capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. I don't know about you, but I'm extremely attentive to body language. Part of it, I'm sure, comes from years of being a reporter. The job often demands that we make observations about people we've just met and attempt to divine what their actions and movements mean. And sometimes I just like to sit in public places and guess at what's going on with people by watching the way they move and interact with those around them. Little did I know you could make a career out of this. Dr. Lillian Glass, who previously visited Mr. Media to talk about her book Toxic People, is really onto something with her latest, The Body Language Advantage. Whether you're in business, in a relationship, a sports coach, or just like people watching, you're sure to learn something interesting from Dr. Glass's interpretations of body language, and particularly the accompanying photos in the book. And Dr. Glass, I'd like to immediately suggest a sequel, The Naked Body Language Advantage.
Hey, that's a good one.
All right, good. I was going to say think about it, but I guess you don't have to. Dr. Lillian Glass, welcome back to Mr. Media.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. I loved doing your show last time. You're so funny and wonderful and witty, and I said I can't resist.
All the right things to say to start.
It's true. It's
And look at the
true.
body language. Smiling, looking straight ahead, engaging
right,
the
right.
eyes.
Right at you.
So, I mean, I found the new book really interesting, but I love the pictures because, and that's why I wanted to do video with you, because it just felt like the pictures are so engaging. They really,
They really are, and the book, I'm so proud of it because it's kind of my life's work, and it not only tells you about body language, but it tells you about body language in relationship to the opposite sex in your relationship, body language in relationship to dealing with toxic people, body language in all aspects of your life, and it's so helpful. And the pictures, we made it easy with really beautiful, high quality pictures that you could see somebody that you could identify with.
I got to ask you, I was trying to figure it out. I'm thinking that there's 4 different models. Was that about right?
There were 4 models. There were supposed to be more, but budgetary concerns of the publisher. So
I
they're
thought so.
musicians.
They changed. They're in different outfits, and their
You're right.
the
They're
hair is,
different, but they're professional models, all 4 of them. One of them looks like Brad Pitt. One of them looks like Angelina Jolie. True. Another one is just a gorgeous woman and a gorgeous man. So
yeah,
it's very pleasing to the eye.
They're good-looking people. They definitely get the points across in a way that, for example, if you had done it without pictures, like if we had done this interview without video, you could get the idea, but it's not the same. I mean, it really makes that difference.
It
like,
does.
you know,
It does.
what am I saying to you now? Oh, that's right. I don't have any hair. I can't flip my hair. And I wanted to say to you, at any point during the conversation, feel free, if I'm doing something myself with body language or whatever I'm doing, if you want to point it out, don't be shy about it. I know it's a little hard because we're just doing kind of headshots, but
I think you're great. In fact, that's body language is not. It's good that you brought this up, but body language is not just the physical movement. It's not just the facial expression. It's the voice quality. It's the tone of voice. It's the speech pattern, and everything combined makes your body language. So that's the four components that we have to look at: your voice, your speech, your body movement, and your facial expressions.
I'm guessing this must be very popular for you to speak to people, and everybody must want to hear about this from you.
Well, during the elections, I was very popular. I was booked solid, doing all kinds of things from Associated Press to I was on the Daily Show. So I was doing everything, CNBC, and Geraldo, and doing all kinds of analysis of the candidates and how they were doing at the specific times. And I do a lot for magazines and television shows with regard to performers, entertainers, what's really going on between the lines? What are they really saying in interviews? Are they honest? Are they being forthright? Are they lying? What's going on? And so I do a lot of that for Entertainment Tonight.
And having just come through this very big political season,
Yeah.
when there were a number of gaffes in different ways.
Yes.
The 47 comment, things like that. What were some of the moments that really captured you that were, related to your specialization?
Well, we saw such a difference in the communication patterns throughout the debates. Initially, we saw Obama not coming across that strongly, and then he became strong in the second debate and in the third debate. So the first debate, clearly, from a body language point of view, Romney won. The second debate, it might have been Obama, his strength. And the third debate, they were pretty much even.
What about there were people who talked about there were times when Governor Romney seemed to be lecturing the president or getting in his space, and and a lot of people found that kind of off-putting.
They all say yes, but with the debate situation, it's such a unique situation. You know that the eyes of the world are on you, so there is a lot of pressure from both parties. And you're right. There was one point where they were circling one another, and it was quite strange. But I really don't attribute it to each of them as much as I attribute it to the format. It was just very awkward and not choreographed correctly, in my view. But they both came out the way it should have come out in terms of what happened, and that's the situation.
Do you think that their body language with each other?
Pardon me?
I'm sorry. Do you think that
being political at all? This is just from a body language point of view, and that's what I want to stress consistently. That I'm not a political person. I'm not a political analyst. I don't get involved in the politics.
I understand.
I'm involved in how people come across.
I understand. What I'm curious about, though, is do you think that, there was such a difference with Obama from the first debate to the second and the third in the body language. Do you think that the body language, like a lot of people looked at the first debate and they felt like he just looked like he didn't want to be there, and he didn't, right?
That's great that you brought that up. There was one situation there where we saw him at the podium, and his toe was on the ground. His toes were on the ground, but his heel was up. And that was indicative of a person wanting to leave. So if you're in a room with somebody and you look down at their feet and their toe is on the ground and their heel is up, they don't want to be there.
You would think that the President of the United States would have, to reach that point, he would be in control of things like that. But I mean, it's just human nature, right? There's some things you just can't.
Human nature.
Yeah.
The body doesn't lie. The voice doesn't lie. And when you put it all together, you see the truth.
It's amazing. Now, The last time you were here, we did talk about toxic people, and I
Yes, we did.
I know you didn't really care for that title too much.
I couldn't stand the title. I'm going to say it publicly. The name of the book is, well, I wrote a best-selling book called Toxic People, which I'm very proud of. And it's helped so many people around the world, and I'm still proud of it. And then I wrote another wonderful book, which I wanted to be called Toxic Relationships, but the publisher insisted to call it Toxic Men. And I'm not a man basher. I love men, very much so. And so it was just so awkward for me to go throughout the media and promote this book about toxic men because I didn't feel it. But I did love the content of the book, but I don't love the title of the book.
And is this book in any way an outgrowth of those books, or is it something completely different?
No, good point. It's an outgrowth of the toxic people, because people want to know specifically, what do I do in relationships? But the information applies to men and it applies to women. So that's very, very important to consider when you do read the book. So if you're a man reading it, it can apply to your relationship with a woman and vice versa.
Can one sex or the other get more value from this book than?
No, I think both of them can, because in our society, we're dealing with communication. The breakdown in communication is really what causes all of these problems. And there are differences that men do and differences that women do that I talk about in this book called The Body Language Advantage, where you can actually see it visibly. And, you may see a man taking up a lot of space and thinking, boy, he's being obnoxious or he's hogging up the room. But that's just guy behavior. When you look at that, or you may see a woman going, nodding her head, and you think, boy, she's really agreeing with me. No, she's just encouraging you to go ahead and speak. So that's kind of fascinating. And now your head, you're behind your back, you're going, what's going on? Being very judgmental.
I'm just trying to play the guest.
Yeah,
so what are some of the more common signals that the body sends out unconsciously that kind of telegraph to people?
When we don't want to say something, or we want to not reveal what we're saying, oftentimes we'll put our hand over our mouth and we'll not communicate that. We'll just go like this, or just kind of purse our lips, because we don't really want to say it. Exactly, zip it. So we see this coming out subconsciously all the time. And the beauty of this book is it shows you in a very easy, elementary way what we do. And then you'll always remember this when you're dealing with your friends, your business associates, when you're dealing with your family members, especially during holiday seasons.
Let's say that and my wife's in the other room so she can hear this. So let's say I'm communicating with my wife and she's telling me something and I'm not interested. What am I likely to be doing?
You might look down. You might look at your feet. You might be looking up. You might just be fidgeting a lot, and that could be a problem.
Like this, looking at the phone, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that a signal? Is that a tell? Like in poker?
That's one of the biggest giveaways.
So I mean, one of the things that we can get from the book is, we can maybe focus on things that we do all the time and that are kind of like giving ourselves away. Yeah. What does that mean?
It's kind of primping, and it's also flirtatious behavior with women. But I'm not being flirty because I know you're married.
but let's follow that for a second. What else would indicate from a woman to a man, or another woman for that matter? This is modern age. What would indicate flirtatious behavior? What should a single person be looking for?
I think, a lot of times coquettishness, your distance, for example, if you lean in, you're smiling a lot. You might be if you're a woman, playing with a necklace, playing with your hair. You might be looking down in a demure fashion. So, this could be a very important signal that, hey, this person likes me. Mm-hmm. And for a man, there's a lot of smiling, eye contact. You can also notice that the eyes get wider, and there's a little flare at the nose, the sides of the nose, if they really like you.
Very good. So
they lean in.
So all these women have been flirting with me all this time, and I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
I knew I got married too young. 25 years.
Hey, that's beautiful. That's a gift.
Yeah, but I'm starting to think I just missed all those signals now. Now I'm thinking about it.
Grass is not always greener.
And what about in the workplace? What are some things that we need to look for in the workplace to kind of tell us what's going on?
Well, we need to look for a lot of things. In the workplace, we need to know if we're being alienated, if people are scratching their nose like I just did, if they're telling you the truth. For example, and I am telling you the truth. I just had a little itch here because you have to know, are they just itching? But it depends on the context and if you're comfortable. And right now I have a little puppy here who's only 3.5 months, and she's ringing bells and doing all kinds of things. So that's why I'm a little uncomfortable here. I'm going, oh no, what's she going to do next? Bark, scream?
She wants to play.
She wants to play.
Do you want to take a second and show everybody your puppy?
Yes, I do. Come here, Annabella. Come here, beauty queen. Come here, sweetie. Come here, come here, come here. Let's go. Let's be on camera. Mr. Media Show. Yeah. This is Annabella.
Hi, Annabella.
She loves her mommy, as you could. It's the sweetest thing.
And this is why we switched to video a few years ago, folks. Look at this. Hi, Annabella.
Hi, Annabella. She just is so cute, and she's
adorable.
Look at her. She's a golden doodle.
Hi, Annabella.
She's 2.5 months old. She just lost a baby tooth.
Oh.
So she's a real proud mother. So maybe so this is great.
This is what she wanted.
This doggy body language. And I'll tell you, when you know body language, you really know your dog's body language because you really see how what's going on. And she's very expressive.
Yeah, I think she just indicated she's bored with me.
What's going on? See that? See, that's Mr. Media. Look at Mr. Media. Isn't he so cute? Hi, Mr. Media. Hi.
That's a very, very cute
Isn't
dog.
she beautiful?
Yeah.
And just smart as can be, and this is absolutely joy. So if you hear a lot of noise, it's little Annabella here trying to get some attention. And as I said, she just lost a tooth today.
Aww.
Today's a milestone. She lost a little baby tooth, so she's kind of
Yeah. What's going on with me?
Feeling different.
Well, Annabella, we'll give you a pass for today.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Oh, that was great.
Okay, now how's that for body language?
Good. Well, so we were talking about the workplace, and so
Yes.
What are some differences in behavior to be aware of between employee and employer, but also just fellow employees, and
well, you could tell if you're going down the right track and the wrong track. If people are icing you out, if you're about to get fired. A lot of it is how the assistant is treating you. Watch her body language. Sometimes if the boss is getting ready to fire you, the one that really knows is his assistant. So watch how she treats you or he treats you. That's very important. Are they abrupt in their tone? Do they give you the time of day? Do they just acknowledge you, or do they really smile? Are they happy to see you? Do they engage you in communication and conversation? Do they lean towards you? Do they lean away? So you can really tell a lot in terms of what's coming up. And now with layoffs happening, people are very uncomfortable. We're not used to firing people and firing them for really no reason. I mean, people are great workers, but they have to be let go because of the finances and the economy. And so oftentimes you have to let someone go that you really don't want to let go. So some people shut off. They don't want to deal with it. Some people are overly friendly. So there's different ways that people cope with this.
What can I do? Let's say I'm not quite at the point where I'm going to be let go or that's an issue, but what can I do in terms of recognizing, let's say, my boss's body language before that happens, so I can well, I don't know, I don't want to say kiss up to the boss, but so I can be in a better position to respond when the boss wants things from me or needs things, or maybe is it possible by recognizing that's all right.
Bell just heard the neighbors.
By recognizing the body language, can I get ahead of the curve?
Yes, I think primarily is if you are looking at the person's face, you can tell a great deal, an awful lot about them. You know, what is there facial tension? Do they agree with something you said? Do they not like something you said? And that's where you use body language. It's really a tool to help you. And that's what this book helps you with too, because it gives you information that can help you decipher how the other person's really feeling. Because so many times we don't pay attention to this. And especially in this new cyber generation, we're spending so much time online, so much time tweeting each other, and not really doing what we did back in the day, which is face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball contact. And even though we do on Skype, we miss a lot. Like I'm missing a lot of your hand gestures, your feet movements, your body movements, and vice versa. And as a result, we don't get the full picture. So once you understand this through this book, which is so important for anybody in this younger generation, from being in grade school, and that's why I wrote it also, not just for grade school students, but for grade school, high school, college students, to the most sophisticated individual with the highest education, because it appeals to everybody through the photographs, and you can really learn some things that can change your whole life,
Well, just because you can't see my hands, I want you to know my palms are open and apart.
You're open. You're doing all kinds of things. It's a different language, and once you understand the whole body language situation, it is exciting because you really get it and you really see what's going on. Little subtle movements. And, for example, lying. This is so important. People want to know if other people are telling the truth, and especially in this day and age. See a lot of smooth-talking people. Are they selling us a bill of goods, or is it true? Well, from head to toe, you've got to look at things, and everything has to be in context. If you just go like this with your nose, that just must mean, you could have a cold, or you're a little stuffy, or you're itching. But if you're doing it and you ask, where were you last night? Oh, nowhere. To do with it, or they scratch their eye. The reason for this is because the autonomic nervous system is working overtime. So the blood flow is becoming more and more intense and flowing more rapidly, and so it's expanding the capillaries, and as a result, it kind of feels different. So you're itching a little bit. So we see this oftentimes with the all aspects of scratching and itching with our skin. We can also see it if a person's blinking a lot. For example, if you ask them something or they really lean back, you heard the expression taken aback. That's really what that means. You really see it. A person may purse their lips. That means they're really not wanting to be forthright and tell everything that they said. A person may also look away. And there's all this myth, if you look up, it means something. If you look down, no, just if you look away. Some people look up, some people look down. I know that's the premise of neuro-linguistic program, which is very controversial. So, but I'm of the school that looking away is just looking away. And again, the itching, the if you keep saying a lot, that has a lot to do with deception, especially in key points of view. And I do this a lot in court cases where I look at to see whether the person is being forthright or not. I analyze deposition tapes for attorneys, and it's very helpful. And we've been very successful in a lot of cases because of the information we've received through the deposition tapes and in the statement analysis.
Now, you're a one-person show, or are you able to train people to do what you do and work for you? How does that work?
The book is pretty, I have to tell you, I gave away all my secrets because I feel that that's what it's about. It's just not about me doing it. It's about you doing it at home. It's about you doing it when you're watching TV and you're wanting to see, is that person really telling the truth in some news situation or some court situation. You want to see it. You can also appreciate it in terms of acting. Sometimes, we can watch a movie and it's just so bad. Why is it bad? Because the body language wasn't in sync. The voice wasn't in sync. That's the key thing. I know Lindsay Lohan, just to be current, and you're Mr. Media, did a show last Liz and Dick, and she's gotten terrible reviews. It's panned. But why? So I analyzed it. I watched it. It's because her voice was very monotone. There was no emotion in it. Her body language was monotone. It was over the top. It wasn't believable. Whether this young woman needs to spend less time partying around and going into getting into trouble and more time in the acting school because this is what she needs to get her chops back. She doesn't have them. And it really showed. And not to be mean, but she needs a lot of work. She's not the actress she was when she was a young girl. She's not in this role at least.
Well, anyone who'd ever seen Liz Taylor knows that she never spoke in a monotone.
Oh, and it was sloppy. The diction was sloppy. Where Lindsay Lohan was concerned, and there were words that would never be used by Elizabeth Taylor, especially because it was a time piece, it was a period piece, and nobody used the word screwed, so to speak, back in those days. That was not the colloquialism. You never would say something like that in the 60s, 70s. That just wasn't a word to be used. So I don't only fault Lindsay Lohan, but in the statement analysis, whoever wrote this did a very poor job as well, the dialogue. So she had a handicap going in terms of the dialogue, but her delivery didn't help either.
On the other hand, considering how few people would normally watch a Lifetime movie, she did okay. she
certainly brought
she brought people in.
Their eyeballs, so to speak.
One of the things, changing subjects just a little bit, one of the things you talk about is the influence of that team sports may have on men and their body language, the way they interact, both with men and women. I'm wondering if you could talk a little about that.
Sure. Men are a lot more physical, and they're, when they win, they're all jubilant, and they pat each other and hug each other, and sometimes they do it with women, and sometimes there could be sexual harassment suits. Oh, we're fine, wait a minute, he touched me. So we have to be so careful, unfortunately, but in this day and age, because sometimes it can be misinterpreted.
I coach girls soccer, middle school girls.
You're against yourself now.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to always know when you're coaching any girls team. And I don't say that lightly. I just worked with an attorney, and we won a sexual harassment case against a man who was accused of sexually harassing his female students. He was a coach, and he could have been spending a lot of years behind bars. And thankfully, through analyzing the testimony and everything, and the body language of the quote, the witness, we really accomplished this in his favor. So you do have to be very careful.
We're back. I wanted to ask you about Slumped Shoulders, because
yes.
I notice that with men, but a lot of times with women too. They just seem to they hunch their shoulders forward, or they're just
a lot of times you're either it starts at childhood. Sometimes we're not very secure with ourselves, and so we'll hunch over. Or it may be kind of casual, like we're not really thinking about it. But it's very important to have your shoulders back, not like a little soldier, but just to have your shoulders back, and your head up, so people can relate to you a lot more, so you don't come across in that victim mode.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's like you already feel that the world is beating down on you, and
it's interesting. You see it a lot, because you do a lot of celebrity things. So I'm always going to bring up the celebrity thing to you. But you look at somebody like Taylor Swift. You always see her with hunched shoulders, and she's hunkering down, and she's such a beautiful woman. But then it could be a height issue. She wants to get on people's height level because she's taller than most, and so it's kind of interesting to see what she does with her own body language.
I know when I went out with Taylor Swift, it was always an issue because she was always, not only was she taller than me, but she liked to wear those high heels, and it was just very.
You notice how I know that's a falsehood.
Not buying the bullshit. Is that what you're saying, Doctor? Okay. So, last question: what is the best way to study the content of your book? Should I read it front to back? Should I pop around? For the casual person.
Pop around. Look at the pictures, and see what strikes your fancy. It's a very easy read. I mean, because it's most of it's pictures, but there's information in there. How to tell, if a person's toxic to you, warning signs, how to tell if a person is into you, if they're not into you, if they're lying to you. All these little signals, and I think it can literally open up your mind and your life in so many aspects. So it can be very, very beneficial.
I'm going to be looking at the way my female guests look at me a lot differently now. Thank you. very much for that.
Oh, my pleasure, Mr. Media. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Well, and folks, you can find The Body Language Advantage by Dr. Lillian Glass, our guest, in great bookstores everywhere, or you can order it right now at a great price at MrMedia.com. And if you're watching the show, chances are right below our images, right down here, you'll see the book. You can just click on it. It'll take you to Amazon, and it's yours. And Dr. Glass, your website is
www.drlillianglass.com, drlillianglass.com, no period after the doctor, and just 2 L's. And you can learn a lot. You can even get a body language analysis from me.
I saw that. I saw on your site that people can, up late at night, got a question, send it to you.
Hey, I'll talk to you about your toxic problem.
And are you on Facebook or Twitter or any of that?
I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter, and just put Dr. Lillian Glass in, and you can find me all over the place.
Excellent.
Go to the website and just click in the Twitter and the Facebook icon.
All right. Well, Dr. Glass, I'm so glad that you came back and joined us again. And
sure. And thank you for having me on your show, and little Annabella too.
we like to fit in all the guests we can. Thank you very much for your time. It's good to see you.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You can see and hear almost 1,000 Mr. Media interviews by visiting our main site, mrmedia.com, mrmedia.com. Or check out the more than 200 video interviews on the Mr. Media radio site on YouTube. And I'd sure appreciate if you'd show some love from Mr. Media's advertisers, including Stitcher. Apple named Stitcher a top 5 news app of 2011. It's a free mobile app for your smartphone or tablet that lets you listen to your favorite shows and discover the best of news, entertainment, and sports on demand. You can listen whenever you want to more than 5,000 shows, get customized recommendations, and discover what your friends are listening to. My own list of Stitcher favorites is pretty eclectic. I start my day with an hour of MSNBC's Morning Joe with Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. Then it's the latest 2-minute update from the Onion News Network. After that, I'll listen to WTF with Mark Maron, Here's the Thing with Alec Baldwin, HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher, and excerpts from E's Chelsea Lately and The Soup with Joel McHale. Also in regular rotation on my Stitcher playlist, the BS Report with ESPN's Bill Simmons, the TechCrunch headlines, and the Don Geronimo Show. The latest episodes of each show, whether originating from broadcasts, cable TV, radio syndication, or podcasts, are continuously updated. Stitcher is a free app for your iPhone, iPad, Kindle, Fire, BlackBerry, Droid, and more. And show your support of Mr. Media by getting, did I mention it's free? The app at Stitcher.com/MrMedia. That's Stitcher.com/MRmedia. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio. We're also supported by Audible. Check out Audible's 30-day trial membership and download the audiobook version of the book everyone's been talking about, 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. Sign up for your free trial today at audible.com/radio. Again, audibletrial.com/radio. And finally, if you need a disc jockey for a wedding, bar mitzvah, corporate event, or just a big old party, please consider calling 1-800-DIAL-DJs, the party authority for all your party entertainment needs. You can call 1-800-DIAL-DJs or go to their website, 1-800-DIAL-DJs.com, and tell them Mr. Media sent you. And thanks for listening.